Hey guys, we're back. We're in the lobby for Proxima Station. Map number 1, Nerchio versus NaTuRaL. I just kind of had a bit of a cheeky chat with Nerchio. Whispers. Kind of made a joke. I worded it wrong, so it sounded awkward. But I was like, "Hey, so did you lose all your money betting on Homestory Cup or something?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, you sure are coming a long way to steal some Korean money here."
Hey.
But he claims he's just playing for fun today, which I find really interesting.
Cool.
Nerchio, he's a very serious, Nerchio's actually kind of funny in his own way, and I just see him as a very serious dude overall. So it's just actually weird to me that he would play a tournament for fun, you know? But he's also so dedicated to StarCraft that I believe it when he says it.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're coming from. I always assumed that it simply was on their radar, but they just never wanted to play across the river.
Well, we are doing particularly that, as we are on the Korean server with this Korean player in the top right, the home field advantage to this Terran, NaTuRaL.
On the bottom left has the blue Zerg. He is Nerchio.
Again, rocking those awesome war chest skins.
Yeah, I mean, it's different.
I really was
I
unimpressed with the Protoss ones. I don't know what your thoughts are on those.
I still haven't really seen them. So, those are my thoughts.
Well, it's mostly just... Like, I know they were aiming for Tal'Darim, but it just looks like they made darker versions of the skins. But funny enough, not darker than the already dark Zealot skin that's in the game. So it just looks like a little weak.
Oh.
I like the Marine ones, the Terran ones, because the portraits change a lot. Because if you guys don't know, I can't show them as the observer, obviously, but the in-game portrait that's down here, right, with the face and everything, those change for the units, which is cool. The Protoss ones just get red. Like, that's it. They're just like red versions of whatever. Because they're like evil, I guess. The Zerg ones look different too, which is kind of cool, but I think the Zerg skins are the most notably different. The Terran portraits are the most notably different, and the Protoss are just there.
Snubbed. I don't know what to say about that. I haven't checked any of them out, and well, I haven't heard anyone complain. But who would complain about it?
Yeah, well, actually, the war chest is doing really well. Skins or whatever. Yeah. I know this Minder complains about the Baneling skin, but that's the only one I've heard complaints about. But yeah, the war chest, someone was updating again. We've almost hit our cap for increasing the BlizzCon prize pool this year or something, and it's only been like a week.
That's cool. I really hope this means good things for future similar endeavors.
Look,
like not just selling out, but like selling out so quickly.
Well, it's like, okay, this is getting way too crazy. But hypothetically, let's say the war chest is so good, now they can afford to do 4 seasons of GSL instead of 3 or something. You know what I mean? Like it could actually lead to really cool things down the road. Yeah.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of options to like show this as like proof to a lot of different, possibilities, different tournaments, different whatever. But it's always a question of, will that actually be pushed?
All I care about is whether they let them actually use the skins in big tournaments to advertise the cool factor of the skins.
Yeah, there is that. I pay a little bit of attention to Overwatch just because that's like the new big thing, right? Like the breaking news, esports stories. A lot of them were about Overwatch now because it is such a big thing. People are actually putting $10 million into X, Y, and Z, and it just blows my mind. So I look at it and I'm like, man, there's so many resources going into that.
Actually, the thing is, I've worn StarCraft apparel for a long time. Like, I never once in my entire life been asked, "Oh, you play StarCraft?" But my just Overwatch hat I wear everywhere. Which, by the way, guys, to be completely clear, if they had a black StarCraft hat, I would just wear that everywhere. But the Overwatch hat, I always get asked, "Oh, you play Overwatch?" And it'll like spur conversation, like, "What's your main? What rank are you?"
Yeah, I really wish that my hoodie had gotten me some attention yet, but it hasn't. Whereas when I wore my Overwatch hoodie last time I was in Korea, I had some guy use his like limited English to try and ask me where I got it.
You're like, "Oh no, I play." He says, "Yeah, I don't care. Where did you get it?"
Yeah, right. Yeah,
right.
That's what we wanted.
Double Widowmine's looking for some damage. He knew he wasn't gonna be able to sneak this in, so he's just gonna go for an Overlord kill. A little close to the medevac for comfort.
Right? Yeah, he ended up making it look fancy. Because to be honest, when I saw that, I was just like, is it really going to be worth it? Like, seems kind of a worthless endeavor use of your APM, but it didn't look fancy enough, and he does still have them in a very healthy medevac. That queen didn't get too many shots off. And behind it, NaTuRaL is going for actually a big macro game. 30C, double engineering bay, only just adding on the barracks. So not really any focus truly on the starport in the factory. Widow mines are gonna drop again, and get some more shots.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Not bad though, because he does actually get that Widow mine out of there. As long as he doesn't lose the medevac at this point, that one will have a good follow-up.
Man, that's that Widow mine is a little bit closer to the mineral line. I probably would have gotten those cool drones.
Right, it was so close to being a real juicy hit.
Oh boy. All right. So that doesn't do anything, but they get in the as long as the medevac lives, the Widow mines could die. Probably will die, but as long as the medevac lives, then I don't think it's that bad. The Hellions really have no consequence either. They really did their job, in that they made sure Nerchio wasn't going, or NaTuRaL wasn't going to die. They can't do much else, you know. Like they were always going to be pushed back by the queens. They didn't have any marine support or Hellbat support, and such is life now as a Hellion. Once upon a time, it was all about killing those creep tumors. It was a big deal. Not anymore. Oh, this Reaper tried to hide.
I mean, he kind of is. Like behind this barricade. He almost trades out with the Lings even.
Almost.
Almost. Only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, though.
I remember I asked you about that before. I never really played horseshoes when I was younger, so I had to learn what that meant.
Actually, what's funny is, because I grew up with like old-timey grandparents, like they like playing bocce ball and stuff. I did grow up with horseshoes. But I didn't grow up with hand grenades, obviously, so I'd heard that phrase when I was young, and I was like, I never knew, like, you're 5 years old, like, what's a hand grenade, right? Like,
oh, I think I knew what a hand grenade was when I was 5 years old.
America.
It's like the opposite.
America.
Yeah, I was like, is this an American thing, or what happened here? But my grandparents used to play, like, an old game, but I can't remember what it was called. I just thought I tried understanding it once, and I couldn't, man. I gave up.
This is a really interesting angle of attack. Sorry to change topics here, because I think that I don't know if we've really seen a tank try and zone out the ramp like that, but it's kind of working.
Well,
but while this goes on, chaos ensues back at home. Widow mines were not enough. Marines should be able to clean this up, but one more depot means this never happened.
Yeah, a little bit annoying, but it is cleaned up with only 5 SV loss, and he's trying to clear some creeps still. As I say, I think we saw that attack right here once before, maybe, but it is not very usual. And I'm not sure it is totally worth either. Proxima is not really a place where you're going to be up against something important too quickly.
Well, on top of this, those rocks are normally taken down by the Zerg fairly early on, so it is just overall weird to see them up. So regardless, Nerchio does stop this from getting too out of hand. He's also moved on towards Hydras behind this. Balin's speed finishes up here in a moment. Oh, you guys can see the awesome new Hydra skin through the war chest. They get hats.
Basically.
They just picked up a drone and put it on their head, and they're like, do I look okay? And everyone else was, it's like awkward to say no, so you're just like, yeah, that looks fine, just keep the drone on your head.
They look beautiful.
Oh, their eyes are like more glowy too. I never really noticed that the pink eyes are like more pronounced.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Don't question them. All right, so Nerchio has survived and flourished even in this early to mid game. Not really taking any drone kills, although there was that one almost hit, and being able to get to 77 drones, 4 bases, upgrades, hive, and a decently sized army. So that even though NaTuRaL would love to be pushing in here with something scary, it won't be. The upgrades aren't scary, and the size of the army isn't scary. And his tank count was also, I mean, it started. It's 2 at a time now, right? But he lost 1, and he just didn't really start that early. So.
Well, I just want to note here too, because there's the whole cross-server Korean aspect to this. Nerchio's actually had a lot of good results against Korean Terran, especially over time. Like this matchup and this meta seems to be his for the most part. One of the biggest showcases of this was actually him versus Beyond in a big show match we had. Still, like, one of our highest viewed videos on YouTube. And Nerchio's just been really good to watch. He's been really good at this matchup. It's funny, though, because he will struggle against players like Thermal, but I feel like they make mincemeat out of players like Beyond.
Well, that's a pretty strong statement.
Well, I'm not saying it's 100% of the time, but it's happened, right? Like,
it's been a while since we've seen it. They reviewing that show match. That was a while ago. I thought somebody saw Snoot or Nerchio up against a really, really good Korean Terran. There's been much cross-server play.
Region locking, am I right?
Yeah. No, I'm really thinking about it. Just it's we actually been casting so much Korean stuff, but then we do cast European stuff. It is just Europeans. Well, maybe we'll see it. Well, no, I would see it at GSL versus the World. Never mind.
Robbed. Robbed.
Okay. Well, anyways. We do have NaTuRaL trying to push in here, looking scary, and his army supply is now even, his upgrades are now even, and his tanks, maybe they're an okay supply here. In fact, with the high grounds, the depth of the tanks, it's a little bit scary for Nerchio to do.
Yeah, Nerchio's banelings are all removed. They don't really get to do much. The Ling's gone now, too, and I liked what he tried to do for the engagement. He tried to come from multiple angles. That's how you best deal with tanks, but giving up all the Lings, all the banelings off of creep, this was the worst way to deal with this army.
Yeah, I feel like this is how Nerchio dies a lot of the time. He gets into a fantastic macro position, then gets kind of overconfident and pushes in a little too far, but he should be okay. Like, this army's getting stimmed. It's still not threatening anything. The 5th base was just, canceled, not taken.
Well, I was going to say, for Nerchio dying, usually it is his hive transition that gets him killed, right? But this time he's actually gotten to that hive. Ultra's Cavern's already been made. He's got the Titan exploiting on the way. Like, he's not looking too bad.
That would have, if that was truly the snowball moment, he lost too many Lings and then was chased down and lost half his Hydras. NaTuRaL is still continuing forward, pushing a lot more aggressively than he is right now. And kind of splitting still wouldn't be done. So I still think that would be an accurate, this is how Nerchio dies sometimes. And it feels very, common on Proxima Station just coincidentally, too. But that's not the case. NaTuRaL does not feel confident enough to continue pushing in. And he goes for a drop in the main, which means that a lot of his army's left behind. I've never liked big drops versus Zerg. I've never seen them really do enough.
Well, the Ultras don't have Katniss plating, so the Marines are tearing through them, but Queens and Transfuses doing what they can to keep this one alive. Refuses to die! Finally goes down! Only a couple Transfuses were remaining.
Whatever it was chomping on, 2 or 3 Marines took forever to die as well, jeez. But the time was bought for the rest of the army to come back around. But it's going to be cleaned up. That took a lot longer than I gave it credit for. It still was cleaned up. This attack also being cleaned up, potentially. Just kind of rallying in here.
I'm just going to say this, too, not to try and create an excuse for Nerchio. I've seen a couple of these quote-unquote bad engagements that I think are lag-related. There's a little bit of delay there with some of the stutter step, the baneling controller just now when we watch him clean it up in the main. Missing 3 or 4 transfuses on almost full energy queens to the Ultra. There's small little things here where I do wonder if Nerchio's feeling that server burn.
Perhaps. Well, NaTuRaL is scanning around, seeing what the economy really looks like how big of a blow did he just deal right there. And, NaTuRaL's on his own 4th base. He's getting to his 3-3. Nerchio did manage to fit in plus 3 carapace, though, so he's probably good to go. Yeah, I think the damage is okay. It still is Ultras, and, NaTuRaL's only response to Ultras is trying to kite them down and hoping to maybe catch them on a ramp, which is totally possible, don't get me wrong. But there's not the Liberators, there's no Ghosts. Okay, there's some Liberators, but there's not a lot of Liberators. There's not any Ghosts. And, I don't know, these Ultras, they get a nice little surround. They get the Ling supporting them, too. That army of NaTuRaL might just get obliterated. But only if Nerchio can get maxed out himself. He's having some trouble.
Well, he's having a lot less trouble now. The thing was, I think when we're talking about that start of, is this where Nerchio gets caught dead? He was down, almost 30 or 40 army supply, I want to say. So, it's a lot closer now, for sure, and the units are better upgraded for it.
Yeah. Well, this would be NaTuRaL's ideal attack zone. He's got Liberators and tanks having a ramp. He's even adding a missile turret. I think it's kind of cool. This is a little mistimed, just losing units to the south and then losing them to the west and then finally paying up to the north, but all a little wonky.
Bailey still managed to roll in and catch a lot of the Marines. But man, those Liberators, the single biggest problem here.
Yeah. Even with the almost surround, it was a little mistimed. And it was still going up against a good location. GG.
All right, congratulations, NaTuRaL. He takes game number 1.
Well, taking out Nerchio, even if it is cross-server, would be quite a testament to NaTuRaL's TVZ.
Yeah, I mean, NaTuRaL, again, to reiterate here, he's really not a bad player. We've had praises to sing about him in the past, too. I really like watching Nerchio play a lot, and I'm just... Again, I don't bring this up because I want to make excuses for the guy, but I think server lag might have had a little bit to do with some of those fights. Whether that would have changed the outcome or not, I honestly couldn't tell you. But that was definitely, I don't think, perfectly played or comfortably played for Nerchio in some aspects.
Well, he chooses Odyssey next. It's still the old map pool, and it's only 5 maps, too, which I feel like lately we've been forgetting. And they're ready.
Cool. Well, let's hop into it then. Odyssey for map 2. Is that gonna swap anytime soon? My hands are off the key. Oh, there we go, finally.
What?
Like I pressed the scene, right? Like go to this scene?
Oh, I thought the players were wrong. Okay.
No, sorry, that was me just like wondering like why XSplit wasn't. It's good now though. There's not lag. I don't know what that was. Just hope it doesn't happen again. Game number 2 here for the Olimoleague. We're of course in the round of 8. Spawning here in the upper left side, we've got the red Zerg, Nerchio. Or Nerchi.
Okay, well on the bottom right, we have NaTuRaL.
Alright, so it looks like the other match that's being streamed by Crank is Lucier and Youngshik, by the way. Bottom side of the bracket has Creator, Billowy, and Jakshi and Cure. So I gotta say, like, there's no bad combination for the semifinals that follow this. In fact, I'm quite excited to see what that bottom side looks like, especially.
Not a bad split of races either. We'll see what the round of 4 looks like. Got 2 mirror matchups and 2 other ones.
I go from, I fall in and out of these points. It's like Foreigner or Korean, or we're talking about the races in StarCraft, where like I care that it almost sounds like a bit insensitive, like you're talking about ethnicities or something, but then sometimes it's totally normal. You're just like immersed in the StarCraft 2 terminology.
I've never been kind of like weirdly offset when I say races, but I have been weirdly like, that realization of like, oh, this kind of sounds bad when I say the Koreans. Like, I don't know, when I'm talking to my friends and just like out in like in an American pub or something, I feel like when I'm talking about like those Koreans are always taking our money, I feel like it's gonna be heard, well, really differently.
Reminds me a little bit of like the interview we had with True. He's like, the Americans or the foreigners, they come steal Korean money.
Yeah, damn foreigners.
Hey, CJ Link just hit us up with a sub, dude. CJ was the guy who has helped us do a lot of production for the main stage of DreamHacks and stuff you guys saw on that last day. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. So thanks for the sub, man.
Hello. Hello.
Of course, I'm aware we missed some people in between. We'll get caught up again after this game and go through that big laundry list of you wonderful supporters. Keeping us alive. Still over 1,000 subs strong, which is great. Although, I am sad because it's been slowly going down. I'm still happy as long as we're above 1,000. It gives us money to make tournaments and to live our lives with.
Living's pretty cool.
Unless you're a zombie.
Well, I mean, you're still alive in a sense.
You're literally not, though. You're undead. Oh, that was a mistake. I mean, that was a mistake.
What is really the difference?
This was such an annoying maneuver that Nerchio just pulled.
Yeah, but it's calmly taken care of. It pulled the Reaper back, it pulled some SCVs off, but it could have been a little more awkward. 6 more links though, like, with the speed finishing up, Nerchio, well, he could definitely get the Reaper, but I think he might just be a little bit mistimed about canceling the command center, or stalling it out rather. Yeah, he's not gonna get that. He might just catch the Hellions not being microed.
Well, I was going to say, actually, catching 2 Hellions is a lot easier than catching 4, but never, no matter what the combination, never do you want to fight them on a ramp.
Yeah, and this is definitely the safest place for NaTuRaL to put them while he's microing with the Reaper. There's not much the Reaper can do after it scouts the 3rd base, but, I mean, if that's what it does, then sure, as long as it doesn't, you know, stab you in the back because you didn't micro back at home. You're just going to dodge out of that Queen's way.
He just got dark souled. That's what he did. All right, well, Cloak Banshee might get away with a bit. It's not so common to see nowadays. I mean, we've actually seen Banshee Hellion be more popular than not, but still, it's not something for you to blindly accept. You're not going to be, or expect, excuse me, you're not going to be throwing down a bunch of Spore Crawlers for no reason.
Nerchio looking for that perfect timing, does not find it, but responds fast enough to still have these lings kind of threatening that right side. And I do like that NaTuRaL bothers to look and chase them really, truly away, because this is something that just, it's you know, 6 times more annoying than those 2 lings going underneath the factory. You do want to take care of it. And you know, these Hellions, they don't have high aspirations here. They don't have big dreams and big goals. So if they spend their time looking for lings, there's really not that much taken away from NaTuRaL's build.
Well, Banshee squashes the first ling it sees, but also gives away the fact that there's Banshees out. This is, I don't know, worth the timing. Like, the Banshee, there's for sure going to be Spore Crawlers down now. Maybe he just looks to push in with the Hellions and hopes that the damage it brings will be the brute force to break Nerchio. Front line.
That hasn't been a thing since Wings of Liberty.
I mean, it shouldn't be either. He's actually got a Spore Crawler coming down on the front line.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, there's really kind of a couple reasons to why that is, but like one was the Queen range buff with ground and air. But then also, just that people make so many more queens than they used to. So they're so snowballing against the queen count.
Queens are pretty good. If only they had more range.
That's all they need is more range. You know, they should. You know, the next buff should just be combining the attack and the missile upgrades. That'd be perfect.
You know what? I would be willing to give Zerg that if we got that back from Mech. So combine all the upgrades into one.
Ooh, interesting trade-off. No, I wouldn't give that to the queens. Never mind. No, queens are already too good. Queens already got enough buffs, man. No matter what I got in return.
Yeah, they're pretty
Oh,
silly
it's so many
units.
queens. No.
Yeah, not worth. Banshee's still getting away with quite a bit in the main, though. Not exactly wreaking havoc and destroying anything, but they're not being dealt with either.
Yeah. I mean, the queens are obviously all dealing with the Hellions, or maybe they didn't have to, maybe the ones could have, but the Banshees are kind of a thorn in his side that he's probably recognizing. I don't have to spend a lot of AP on dealing with this. So, like, okay, they'll get a couple of drones. As long as I'm hitting every other drone round with my larva, that's fine. Because while he's losing 1 every, like, 20 seconds here, he's, like, also making 10 in every larva round.
Yeah, queens are hardly phased by this.
Ah!
Okay, well, third base gets put on location, so NaTuRaL can start getting that mining going. Nerchio moves on to take a 4th, but he's still going for the same composition as last time. That's going to be Hydrolings and Banelings. I mean, the thing that's interesting about this is, like, I think Mutalisks are obviously a little bit easier to get harassed in with, but Hydras are just better fighter units overall. And nowadays, Terran, they're not really doing a lot of drops. They're not stretching you thin. They're usually doing these giant parade pushes, and that's where I think this composition truly gets its strength.
Well, this is a nice little maneuver. The Hellions end up helping out against what is still only Lings, and the Marines are just barely enough to force a cancel on what was an almost completed 4th base. That is kind of painful. Nerchio, I don't think he's in a hurry to get his, you know, the 4th bait. Well, I don't think he's gonna double expand. Maybe if he was a little more desperate. Maybe if the game hasn't already been going so much in, not quite in his favor, but like okay, it's been a perfectly normal macro game. But I would say that, like, yeah, it kind of sucks. That was a very far along 4th base. I know the Zergs might have double expanding because he's also banking out of minerals, but able to spend it. 14 Hydras, a lot of upgrades on the way.
What
And the 4th base just taken somewhere else.
I just can't get over that hat. Like, I get what they're going for design. It's supposed to be Leviathan, underwater, or whatever, but no.
Supposed to be?
Like, the Zerg's theme is like Leviathan or whatever.
I thought that was for their last skin. I didn't realize it was for the war chest too.
I think it is. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I could be misremembering
Well,
now.
it was like the Broodlord became like an aquatic, right?
Yeah. An aquatic. The Greens.
NaTuRaL's pushing in here. While being, I guess, you know, pushed with these wings. Oh no.
Oh, Wood Mines get pretty much. Oh, not quite taken out. So they get a couple hits on the Hydras. Nothing phenomenal, but still good hits.
I mean, if you're gonna play with Widow Mines, that's the exact scenario you can't allow to happen. You know, then the pounce on you as opposed to the other way around, so you can calmly put those down. Drilling Claws might have helped too, but it wasn't done. Did it just get canceled?
So Nerchio's benefit. Oh wait, Drilling Claws?
Did it just get canceled?
Yeah, it got canceled.
Yeah,
he lifted the factory. No,
that's a little weird. No,
he just chose to cancel it.
Yeah, because well, the point is he's choosing to swap over into tanks. So yeah, he did cancel it. But that's interesting because it's not actually that Widow Mines or tanks are the wrong way to go. Like both have their
work.
Their strengths. Yeah, you know, the Widow Mines still take out Ling Baneling like they would in a general game, whereas the tanks will take out maybe Ling Baneling, but also have it with the Hydras, just general splash, right?
General
so to see him
splash.
like to see him stop midway, like I really thought he was gonna commit to the Drilling Claws.
Outside the south hits. Hydra's coming for the backside. NaTuRaL's got to be really careful about this. Or he might just lose all those medevacs.
Yeah, that was dangerous. Oh, this is Marine Force still taking these on.
I'm more surprised that the Queen's still trying to take out the Marine Force.
Well, the Banelings ended up getting sniped. Oh, that was one of mine. Took out the last Queen. Let's be done. Nerchio is sending a lot of his army forward here, but the NaTuRaL has plenty of reinforcements. I think is okay. This army is about to get shut down. Medevac's first thing targeted.
Oh, that's an exposed command center.
A little bit, but that was really not a very scary.
Oh, that would have been the time to
army.
pounce if he had seen that, by the way. Not realizing NaTuRaL's tanks are exposed. Nerchio does miss a small opportunity.
He's cleaned up all of the drops. Just a couple Widow Mines here and there, but the drops all cleaned up with, and it looks like Nerchio is planning to attack. This is gonna hit with maybe +1 missile, yeah, but I don't know about the +2 attack. Behind this, he will be getting to ultras, so as long as he doesn't throw all of his army away, he should be transitioning okay. That is the worry, though, is that he does take a bad fight.
Well, Nerchio's got to break the wall so he can fight. He's definitely got the better
This is
units here for
awkward.
now.
Yeah, NaTuRaL, you know, he has these units that are, you know, pretty good, sieged up in a choke and a ramp, but they're not there. But Nerchio backs off. He does not commit to the third base, just gets it lifted and then goes back.
Nerchio is safe fair.
Not entirely. Not entirely. Oh, God. This drop did distract Nerchio, I think, because he just accidentally took a fight with much more bio in the middle of the map, and now he's being chased down. NaTuRaL sees an opportunity. He just chased down a bunch of Hydras. And now he just has to bring his tanks forward, and he will have this dominant army supply. Nerchio lost too much. Not with the push from the third base, but being distracted in the middle of the map. I don't think he can say to get to ultras anymore.
Trapped and slided the Marines on that ramp, too. Looks like he'll force a cancel on the planetary. Should have to lift. Nice, that buys him a lot of time, actually.
Okay, something, but NaTuRaL's still pushing on to this fourth.
Yeah, this is where I'm kind of jaded, because this is about the same looking supply where we were talking about this last game, but then Nerchio was able to bring it a bit closer later, so for now, he's going to try and enforce a bit of a base trade full on. A lot of SCVs getting picked off here while this goes happening before the fighting begins.
NaTuRaL is kind of preparing for this scenario, though. He's got a couple tanks. A Widow Mine. This army might...
If Nerchio had seen that, he could have pounced on this. That would have been 5 freebie tanks.
I was gonna say, I don't think NaTuRaL should have done this. His army got split up, and he ran with it instead of trying to pull back. Okay, yeah, the tanks all go down.
Still, though, cost Nerchio a lot of his banelings, so though this bio is really low, he doesn't have really much to turn around and hit them with. Focus fire is fantastic as he's off creep too, and this not so good for Nerchio.
You know, I think he ended up taking a better trade, though. That was all types of awkward. You know, you had NaTuRaL coming back with half his army split up. He was dealing with multiple run buys. It was awkward for him, but it was also awkward for Nerchio, who was trying to safely escape with very vulnerable units once the banelings were all gone. But I think that worked out for Nerchio okay, because he's gotten 2 ultras, which I was afraid he wouldn't be able to when NaTuRaL was pushing, and he evened up the supply, not the army supply, but his overall supply. No 5th for him, though, and he's gonna need that 5th, like, actually need it pretty soon. If not right now. His man and NaTuRaL are almost mined out.
Well, you know, it wasn't until the Liberators really got into the fray that this started to get out of hand for Nerchio last time. Ooh, oh, that pickoff. Almost got both the medevacs. I was going to say, though, maybe feeling a little bit better prepared for this time. He's going to have a Spire, so the Liberators, maybe Corruptor gets made, maybe it's a couple of Mutas, but the point is, he's got something to shoot that out of the sky that's not a Hydralisk.
There's only 2. Like, that was hardly the biggest problem in that last game.
I think when it comes down to this too, because this is what happened before, maybe Nerchio puts a little too much into the Ultras and not enough into the Lings and the Hydras and whatever support unit. Then those Liberators are the biggest deal. Not what's happening yet, of course, but maybe.
I was gonna say I was actually worried that he would put too much into the Corruptors, thinking that there'd be a billion Liberators.
Well,
which there might be eventually.
Even if you did, still make them into Broodlords at least. I mean, Snoop plays this late game nowadays with Broodlords and not even Ultras.
That is possible. They're not really at the point of like both banking so much they can go to the Supreme late game easily and truly. So it'll probably be a little while longer before Nerchio can feel comfortable going for Broodlords. NaTuRaL is trying to get a bit of a bank himself, though, to get multiple starports as well as his Ghost production up. And it's starting one at a time. I don't know if NaTuRaL should be pushing while doing this, though. Like, this is probably like the weakest economic point that he had because he was building his gases up. He forgot to do that, or didn't get around to it for his extra bases.
If nothing else, you can at least try and be a little proactive with the creep spread. I think that is going to be a problem. Nerchio's actually got a lot of it going for him now.
That's a good point. Well, that
get
too out of hand. Smart move.
Tanks might just keep some of these units, not here, but of course down here. But I guess killing the depot wall does free them, so. I mean, this many tanks with some upgrades into them, pretty scary.
Yeah, this one. They are in a scary position, however. They can actually be concaved on, especially with all these Lings, and there's just not a lot of bio protecting them, so that's exactly what happens. They don't look nearly as effective as 8 tanks or whatever it was should have.
Oh god. Nerchio, who was trailing supply for a while back there, now doubling and then some naturals.
Yeah, that was awkward. He's sniping some Hydras. This is going to be a game, potentially. NaTuRaL has a planetary he could maybe have gone back to, but he just has no army. I'm looking around for it. I don't see it. It's really the ghosts.
Yeah, they're trying so hard. They want snipes. They want to kill the Ultra, but that thing chased them through their maze. But GG, Nerchio takes game number 2, tying things up now 1-1. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break, guys, as we get into game 3, so sit tight. See you soon. All right, game number 3. Nerchio likes to tie things up today, I guess. Actually, it's actually the standard so far is he was 1-1 versus Tails when we found him. But spawning here to the top left, it is, of course, the Blue Zerg, the Foreigner, Nerchio.
He was caught up with Tails. 1-1 when we found him. Makes him sound like he's a cat on the street. Like a rat on the street, like a rat tail, like the king rat tails. He was caught up in it, and it was bad news.
I can't hear you describe that without hearing Dennis's voice.
In the bottom right, has the red Terran. He is NaTuRaL. Dennis from 30 Rock.
Yeah. Dummy.
Did he talk about rat tails? I don't remember.
Yeah, there's an episode where, what's her face? I don't remember. Liz Lemon. She's like getting all upset, and everyone's like tangling her life up like a rat and a king rat tail thing.
Okay. That sounds about right. Gotcha. Well, we do have Nerchio going for the pool then hatchery. Looking for a bit of a stall in the command center. NaTuRaL has liked his mostly macro build, really. It's got to a starport, but not a lot of emphasis on it. Not like a Hellbat push or something weird like mech either. Just Medevac once, Banshee another time.
So this isn't limited to talking about NaTuRaL, but like even the pros who are using it, it's super duper abusing it. I'm wondering why Terran are starting to move away from the Reapers. Is it because they know there's an impending buff coming and it's not worth relying on them now, or like nobody is really hammering in that 3 racks the same way they used to, and I don't feel like all Zergs universally are handling it any better. In fact, some are still losing to it outright.
For me, I was never really on board the 3 racks is the way to go train. Like, a couple of people do it, and it looks really, really good. And some people complain a lot about it.
I really like it as the opener. Like, watching some players like Gumio and others use it was brilliant, but oh no.
No, it's
so,
cool.
So NaTuRaL, he does get some information from this, right? Like, he knows it wasn't a hatchery first, but he's not going to know about the roaches, having gone home to deal with these lings. And these lings may have just got Nerchio all of the time bought for that scouting. Like, this is huge.
That SCV probably should have just gone to scout, bring another one down to complete the command center, because this is exactly the fear of the early pool. It's fallen out of style, certainly, to follow up with those roaches, but this was what people were doing, like, almost every single game, it felt like, was they're going for lings into roaches. And an SCV scout would fix your problem, to fix the headache of not being able to scout it.
Yeah, you watch some defenses against this, and it looks so easy for the Terran. You kind of ask, like, why Zerg even try for it? But then sometimes you watch Zerg win, and you're like, how could Terran ever defend against it? Like, and a lot of this just comes down to that scouting. Like, still, he doesn't know about this. The Reaper actually missed all of them moving down the middle of the map.
Yeah, and while the drone count looks suspiciously low because you're never looking for it, it might not. Well, now he knows. What am I? Gets one of the roaches, but of course he got to make it into a Ravager. It's going to be full health again. He's going to get the reactor. No Cyclones have started. Liberator desperately trying to start, but it's going to be 3 Ravagers, so it might not live for very long.
The Marauder with concussive shells is ambitious. I like the idea here, but I think the Liberator, like, even if you could keep up with the roaches and the Ravagers and they didn't just keep running out of the circle, 3 Ravagers, of course, will bottle that down. Like, it can't move. I think NaTuRaL's just dead. He's so supply blocked. It's brutal.
He never... at least you see the Terran kind of squeeze out one Cyclone, and maybe that can hold. Not even getting there is really bad news. I think he's notably avoiding the Widowmine he knows is there.
Yo,
just kidding.
As I say, a lot of damage gets done here, and this is certainly better for Nerchio. Like, he can play off of this no matter how he wants now.
Oh, yeah.
But this was something where, like, man, I just wish almost he had all in. Like, there weren't drones coming at home, but he's just flooding lings or something.
Yeah, that would probably be absolutely game over, but even as it is, like 14 SCVs with no 3rd command center this early on in the game, that's probably game-ending damage anyways. There's not much NaTuRaL can do in return. A Cyclone can kind of threaten with a counterattack because it's, it has mobility on its side, but not one of them. One of them probably shouldn't do very much. Liberator shouldn't do very much. The Cloak, I mean, that might be able to deny the 3rd for a little while or something like that, but...
Apparently, I may have accidentally said buff earlier when I meant to say nerf in regards to the future Reaper changes, guys. We're just used to seeing buffs and nerfs in the same sentence. If I left it out, that's my bad. But to be clear, there's no buffs coming for a Reaper anytime soon. That's for show.
Well, this Liberator is being taken care of. Oh my god, taken care of very easily.
You and I both can't speak today, dude. It's almost like that's the one thing we have to do for our jobs.
I'm willing to admit that I'm super tired. Just a sense of exhaustion.
Yeah, travel just takes it out of me, right? I could do like an 18-hour stream and probably feel more chipper than like 5 hours of flying. Personally.
I had my first like motion sickness or adrenaline rush sickness. Like, I don't know which one it was, but I was fine enough on the plane, and then it started ramping up and lifting off, and I had to throw up, man.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry.
It's not really that. Well, I mean, it was like, at this point it was 17 hours ago. But it just is like, I felt bad for my seatmates because he probably like thought like this chick is sick, like she's gonna throw up at some point. And I was like, no, it was just that one thing. And I've never had it before. I've flown plenty of times.
Well, it's just so weird because it was that last flight. You remember me telling you, yeah, I got motion sick.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking of when I started to feel like really like like
you're like fucking Rifkin.
Like, oh. But okay, it happened, and there it is. Yeah, so I'm a little exhausted. But I was going to say, the Banshee might do a decent job because, she can move around the 3rd base and blah, blah, blah. But the lair was done so quickly that it wasn't really just stationary defense Nerchio was looking for. He had those queens, he had the Overseer, and now he's going to have mutas.
Yeah, and that's kind of the cool direction swing here. Like, NaTuRaL, for whatever he's been doing, credit, and where it's due, he's not had to deal with any mutas. So might be just kind of in the wrong mindset right now. Like, it's been so much about those Hydras and the Banlings.
I think he absolutely will be. I mean, this is a nice response. It's a nice follow-up to what because, like, the Karen's best bet is probably to go on for a couple of Banshees and try and do whatever they can with the Hellions. Like, that's an obvious answer. And then an obvious answer to that.
Oh no, Nerchio. I just realized NaTuRaL's trying to play mech off this. But Nerchio, he's already here before even turrets are down. And like, mech anti-air this early in the game is weak. It's really good later, but this early is pretty awful.
Yeah, it's Vikings. And Vikings aren't necessarily that bad against small amounts of mutas, but they're obviously not out. They're not being supported by anything. Except the Cyclone.
Well, Hellions do manage to finally get by that impenetrable defense of the Queens, so some drones go down for this too. But NaTuRaL was already down in SCVs in a big way before, so this puts him in a really rough spot. For Nerchio to lose a couple drones here, it doesn't actually hurt that much. Not in comparison.
It doesn't. No, NaTuRaL's taking so much damage. A Thor pops out, and that'll be enough to help the Viking. One of them died. See, the Vikings are really great at like getting the last shots off. You know, like kind of like a protective barrier on something else that's a little bit better dealing with the mutas, but by themselves they are taken out.
Of course, this base won't get down anytime soon. If it does, he won't be mining off of it. Nerchio starts spewing that creep, and he's got the roaches nearby too.
Yeah, and of course he knows it's mech, so this infestation pit might just be for swarm hosts, which might draw the game out a little bit. I don't know. I think that Nerchio has a kill move, whatever he decides to do.
I would say he almost doesn't need to wait that long. Just get on top of this tank, and then the roaches will kill so much.
Yeah, at this point, NaTuRaL is very stubbornly.
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize how low that factory was from the corrosive vials earlier. So that thing's almost dead straight up. He has to lift it, and I don't even know if he'll save it.
Oh, man.
Like, it does repair a little bit, but not much. Just pulling the SCVs into the roaches instead. Liberator can't keep up. Thor's stuck behind the SCVs. Gonna waste shots on an overseer, too. And Nerchio's running away with the game with a small handful of roaches that would normally be dealt with very easily by a mech player.
Oh, yeah. Another 17, 20 SCVs go down in the last little death throws here. Yep. Even a few more than that. So NaTuRaL back down to 21 SCVs.
Exactly how many SCVs are lost or exactly how many he's left with.
There you go. Magical. You know, Nerchio's not exactly exploding on an economy quite yet. 26 drones, respectable. 3 bases going on to 4, okay. But it is just like compared to NaTuRaL, this is just a gold mine. And Nerchio, okay, so he goes for Swarm Hosts, and maybe the fact there's only like 4 or 5 of them means that he doesn't kill NaTuRaL in the next minute. But he'll just continue to peck away at him until he does have a mass Hydra army or whatever he wants to go for. Actually, I don't know what made me remember. There's absolutely nothing in this game that would like make me remember this, but I do want to mention that I watched the because we were talking about anime at the after party. I watched the Erased movie. I didn't really had a movie. Yeah, I guess it's like that's what I expected, right? Like Japanese movies take a lot from.
Boy, was it anime or live action?
It's live action.
Oh, so it's just like a retelling of the story.
Yeah, but they changed the ending a lot, and it wasn't good. Don't watch it.
I was gonna say because there's the ending was pretty good for us, except for that one moment, right, with the girl at the end.
Yeah, well, the ending was a little confusing in general. I think they like, for the sake of time, they didn't want to try and explain it all because there's so much stuff that was missing. You know, 2-hour movie compared to 10 episodes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, don't watch it. It was just the fact they changed the ending always boggles my mind. I feel like it's such a common thing to mess up when it's already a pretty good anime.
Well, Nerchio has been staggering the Locust waves, so it's been a little bit of consistent damage. He's also microing them too, outside the range of that Liberator. At least, so most of them would be. That's cool. So he does get the tank kill. Of course, behind this, Banshees are starting to chip away at this, but Hydra's now protecting the Swarm Hosts. Vikings even starting to go down here. Again, the future looks very bleak for poor NaTuRaL.
It does. Oh, well, that's not a third base you can have. 4 mules. Or probably the Hellbots could just be cutted against.
He's been really casual with his mule usage. He's getting really punished for it now as he loses a lot of money with 5 mules no longer in service. Nerchio, the foreign hype. Poland moves on. Now I do believe I think the other semifinals is ready first. I don't know the order in which we'll cast them, guys, but we do both semifinals and the finals for the Olimoleague. So Creator versus Jockshi, then likely I think it's Nerchio versus Myungsik, and then after that, best of 5 finals. So if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to give Olimoleague some love. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Olimoleague. I think there's a !Oli Patreon command as well. You can just type in chat. Other than that, if you're enjoying the show so far, do us a favor, hit the follow button. We're getting close to 90,000 followers. We're at 80,553 right now. So I know I told you guys my goal for the end of the month was 100,000. I didn't think it was doable, and it probably isn't, but we're going to be really close, which is pretty cool.
Cool.
At least at this rate. But yeah, we'll go to a quick commercial, then we'll see you guys for the other semifinals ASAP. Thanks for watching.